This is ground zero for the Rosicrucian Enlightenment. Standing here in the alchemical laboratory of the palace in Heidelberg, we are essentially at the center of the alchemical hopes of the Rosicrucian Enlightenment. It was here in the years before the adventure in Bohemia that Frederick's alchemists, astrologers, and soothsayers toiled directly under the king's observation and control. Here came Michael Meyer, Heinrich Kundrath, the great names of alchemy. It's entirely possible that John Dee was in this room. It's entirely possible that Edward Kelly stood where I am standing now. It's almost impossible to conceive of the hopes and the fantasies and the labors and the dreams that have been generated by and are centered on this room and the objects in it. This is the last alchemical laboratory in the world to fully function before the rise of modern science. And these tools in many ways reflect the internal cosmology of the men and women who used them. This, for example, a typical alchemical distillery, is called the Pelican. Another example of the colorful nature of alchemical vocabulary. It's called the Pelican because it is associated with the myth of a bird which plucks blood from its own breast. The prima materia, feces, black coal, charcoal, salt niter, heated in here, brought to a high temperature, a fevered caloric state, rises into the higher empyrean of the vessel, and there, rarefied, it condenses, liquefies, and flows down into the cooler domain of the child of the pelican. Here the essence is collected, the quintessence, and always the hope was that the next experiment, the next combination of materials would yield the elixir vitae, the lapis philosophorum, the completion that the alchemist sought. And so all this fantastic apparatus that we see around us is really not so much in the service of channeling liquids, gases, but in the service of channeling spirit out of matter and into the higher realms, where it then can be refluxed, recondensed, and the lapis philosophorum, the stone of the philosophers, the central mystery brought to completion. It's the self that we are trying to recover. This is lumina de lumina, the light trapped in matter, the lux natura. This is universal medicine, curing all ills. It is the answer. It is what everyone is looking for and no one can find. And so the alchemist toiled over the centuries, the torment of the sulfur, the torment of the cinnabar, the search for the triumphant chariot of antinomy, the search for the quintessential essence that represented the union of all the world that the alchemists saw around them. We have come to understand that the work of alchemy was not about the transmutation of crude metals into gold, but was in fact a kind of dance of the imagination in which the psychological complexes within the alchemist were mingled in an amalgam with chemical processes, creating a kind of mythology of matter, a landscape in which the green lion, the red dragon, the hermaphroditic queen, the four-headed dog were figures moving to and fro in the fevered speculations of the so-called philosophers. And the belief was that man could work with nature, a full partner with the divine process, and redeem the light fallen into matter, and in so doing, redeem himself.